That's very cool, Jen. And for those of you watching, you got to experience that. For those of you listening, either live or in syndication, well, all of you, welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. We're getting well into season 5 here. And for those of you that tuned in last week and or are tuning in this week, please note that we are using some new production software. So we're experimenting with a few things. We're doing things a little differently just to make it more interesting for certainly for the viewer audience. If you're listening to the podcast, then you basically get just me and Jen and our guests rambling as usual. So you're just going to have to suffer as usual. But we have a really cool show for you guys today. So again, I'm Adam Smith with Just the Tips Coaching. With me, almost as always, pretty much always, unless I'm the one getting booted off the show, is our marketing director, Jenn Wayboer. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Adam.
It is morning where we are. It is not morning, however, where our guest is, and we have a really cool guest for you guys this week. A first-time guest on How I Met Your Mortgage, which seems really strange to me considering the amount of time and activity and involvement we have with our guest, John David Adams. John, good morning. I should probably say John David Adams, Loan Depot superstar originator, because he is. And we certainly want to talk about that kind of stuff as well. But welcome to the show, John.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Adam. It's a pleasure.
Well, good. I'm glad that you think so. You may be the only one. For everybody else, this is punishment. John, you obviously know our MO. We've known you a long time. This is our 5th season of the show, Jen. So We've done a lot of these. You've probably seen them. And yes, as we discussed before we went live, our audience is a lot of loan originators and real estate agents, a lot of people that want to hear talk about lead generation activity, that kind of thing. Obviously, you and I have known each other a good long time. You've been to a number of our mastermind events in September, and I don't think that lead gen is really something that escapes you, but I do think we want to talk about how you do. What is JDA's take on lead gen? Where does your business come from? I don't think it would be remiss for us to kind of throw out there that you are one of Loan Depot's top loan originators on their retail platform. Obviously, we do a lot of work at my mortgage company with Loan Depot on the TPO. We are third-party originators and use Loan Depot a bunch. A great organization. But yeah, why don't you, let's back up a little bit. Give us a little bit of background about you, where you're at, how you got into this crazy business, that kind of thing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'll give you the short second version of that. But thanks again for having me on the show. I've known you for quite a few years, and even to my latest avenue to help solidify myself in my niche. With your last boot camp, I started writing a book. I'm in my 5th chapter of 9, so I should be able to release a book in May, thanks to you guys. And really, the book is about my experience throughout the mortgage business. I got into, right out of college, into the engineering business, and I did my internship out in Oregon with Intel. So logically, I'm a mortgage originator and have been for 18 years. So there was a lot of things that happened in between there. But I think the most impactful thing was about losing my shirt back in 2008 with about 11 homes. And since that time, rebuilding, buying homes, I bought and sold 24 houses, and I use a product that I also use for my clients that I specialize in. And, just like the guy said, I'm not only a hair club president, I'm a client. So I actually believe in the product. And I think a lot of other loan officers out there, if they would just concentrate just on a niche and go with that, I think being a specialist to all is practical, but riches are in niches. So that's my story.
That's a good story. And your hair looks fantastic, by the way. We never even would have known that you had that issue. So that's really phenomenal stuff. And you're in Florida.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's a balmy 65 degrees today.
Oh, so not too far off from Denver, although we don't have that horrible humidity. But yeah, I do seem to recall you and I attending a Jacksonville Jaguars game in Denver where the Jags, in a rare moment of success beat the Broncos. That's
never happens.
It's in fact, it happened. I think the most heartbreaking one. I think the first year there was a Jacksonville football team, they beat Denver in a wild card playoff game. And I was living out of state at the time, and I was going to come back home for the game. And my dad said, no, because the Broncos will win that one easily. So come home for the championship game or whatever it was. And of course, I never came back home for any football because the Jags put the kibosh on that right away. Yeah, Marty Johnson says, hey, JD. Hey, Marty, I'm glad you're watching.
Hi, Marty.
Yeah, she and I had been texting this morning, so I told her we'd be live at 10:30, and she thought that was pretty cool. That's probably somebody else we should have on the show in the not too distant future.
Yeah, Marty, let's talk.
Yeah, Marty does great work as well. All right, so what were you doing before Loan Depot?
So I was, hardware engineering technician for Intel.
So literally Loan Depot is your first and only stop in the mortgage
I'm sorry.
game?
I thought you meant the mortgage business.
No. Before Loan Depot, what were you doing?
I was in mortgage banking for about 6 years with Wells Fargo.
Wow.
I had my own mortgage brokerage before then in the crash. So I worked all the way through the crash for about 2 years as an independent mortgage broker, and was really great until, all the secondary companies started pulling funding. So I worked a part-time job bartending, a part-time job teaching ballroom dancing, and then I had to go work for Wells Fargo because I couldn't find any clients. And Wells Fargo ultimately was the only place doing renovation lending at the time, and that's where I sunk my teeth into that product.
And you have. We all know you to be a superstar when it comes to renovation lending still today. So that's probably a good segue. Is that still the brunt of your business?
It really isn't. I had to pivot and change the last few years because, cash investors and just plain people that can come in with cash just eliminated that business completely. It's poised to come back with a impending recession. So it's a recession-proof business, but it's always been a part of my business. I did niche more into VA. When I came to Loan Depot, it was because we had the first VA renovation loan program. And so I delved deep into, serving veterans better. So I did change my marketing a little bit then. For the last 10 years or so, I've taught 3 different classes at the Board of Realtors all over the state of Florida. So that's renovation lending and then VA.
Okay.
So those are 2 big main sources of getting business there for the lead gen, is just being able to go out, teach, be a subject matter expert, and then follow up with those same students.
Okay. And during the peak of this, when you're really hot and heavy on reno loan stuff, where is the clientele coming from? I mean, how are you generating renovation loan leads?
A couple different avenues. So one is the class. So that's served me very well to get right in front of agents, who usually are the mouthpiece for agents. It's changed throughout the years, so a lot of people are online. So I would say that if I hadn't adopted video 4 years ago, thanks to some classes and some, just the tips coaching that we did when flew out to a couple of different places to have some masterminds, I wouldn't have had the courage to go on, get a microphone and a halfway decent camera and just spread the message about what we do. And so I think that's a missed opportunity. A lot of people care too much about how they look. Obviously, I don't. It's all about your message and just being authentic and getting out with folks. And so I think it doesn't matter really what product or niche, just have it come from the heart and get out there and get your message out. I think a lot of people just don't do that.
Okay, so we're educating real estate agents on your product, on a very unique product. I can't think of anybody in the loan origination game that's doing a better job of expressing that they are renovation loan experts than you are. Obviously, that's twofold. You're putting that out to the real estate community and to the consumer. And then video, obviously, I don't know that we could ever even describe the true power of video. And you're absolutely right. 9 out of 10 times when we're talking to somebody, a coaching client, a video marketing class, we used to do a full day video marketing workshop, and we would make everybody script and asset and record and edit a video. And yeah, through all of that, it's that people don't like the way they look and sound on video. Not as many of them are as ugly as you, but it is what it is. Most of them look better on camera.
That's great.
Although they don't look as good as your assistant, I see that you have with you in the background. For those of you watching, that's John's dog helping him with the broadcast today.
He's grumbling a little bit. They have the drums kicking in the background for the marching band, so he's.
Oh, that's right, and we talked about that before.
The parade.
We were live. You have the parade for Dr. King's birthday going past your home right now as well, which is also really cool. I'm glad we were able to score some time with you on a holiday. Although when we booked you, we probably didn't even know it was a holiday.
No, we booked this over a year ago.
Over a year ago. All right. Yeah. We've got quite the waiting list. And
you did touch on a really great subject there too. And it's not forgotten. That's one of the 3 tables of niching is reaching out to other loan officers, because nobody's going to be able to find a better client than a loan officer if you're in a niche. And that's like reverse condos, DSCR loans, or maybe you're doing some kind of low or no doc. Those are some things that I definitely pass along to my broker friends just because they're better at those. But as far as renovation, typically you need a platform like we have to service the draws and some other things. But loan officers are probably the best referral source next to all those other items. They make me a subject matter expert, but it also allows me to have conversations with other loan officers. Maybe that's not part of their business plan, or they know that that's a high touch loan. So that's a very valuable asset to me.
It certainly is a high touch loan, no question. And I would say, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. We certainly see a lot of referral from other loan originators when it comes to non-QM. That's certainly a big one. It's fairly unique to the broker world, of course. So that one makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think that that some of the credit where credit is due goes to the group in particular that you and I participate in and do these conferences through and so on and so forth, because a big part of that is the power of social media on top of all of it. But I do think that social media and video kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you guys, if you want to generate leads using video, yes, you can get some decent audio and get a halfway decent camera and start shooting some shit. But what are you going to do with it once you're done? Maybe you've even gone so far as to go chroma key and do some editing and make some really cool videos, but now you're just sitting on them. So are we learning how to manipulate Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Insta? What am I missing, Jen, where we distribute videos, right?
Building your audience and capturing data of those who find your videos on YouTube, retargeting, ethical retargeting. I do have competitors in my area, and you've got to do it compliant and ethically, but there's a way to drive traffic from your competitors to you if you niche in that as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think generates the best result when it comes to the video work you're doing?
You know what? I've done quite a bit of video, and it took me a long time to figure something out, and that was that just telling is not selling. My best response or my best feedback, and the more people have found me off of testimonials or going in front of a house that I'm standing there with a veteran that's done the impossible and bought a house, and they're talking, not me. So honestly, telling somebody else's story more than my own, or more than just the technical. I'm a computer tech nerd, so I always want to know the technicals, and that does attract a certain audience. But by and large, showing somebody else's story, what they did, not what I did.
That makes sense. So third party is going to be huge. I don't think any of us would disagree with that. And we've certainly studied it. I remember doing, third party promotion videos talking about Lindsay Sills, Lindsay McCoy, and how great she is in California, David Goldberg in Ohio, and how great he is as part of a video workshop that we had all attended together in California. So yeah, I do think that that's valuable stuff, no question. I think the bottom line there is then it kind of circumnavigates doing things like having a great review campaign and having lots of great reviews on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, whatever, because the third party, the consumer, the customer, the client, their words speak louder than ours. Yes, I can tell my audience that I'm fantastic and I do this great work with renovation loans, or I do this great work with VA renovation loans if we're really drilling down a niche. But it certainly would mean a hell of a lot more from the veteran renovating a home talking about how great I was in getting them the money to do it. That's a significant difference, no question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what else? I mean, we know that we're doing some video work.
Well,
we know that we're distributing properly among social media channels. I mean, come on, JDA, don't hide your bushel under a basket. I don't know what the hell that term is. You're light under a bushel. Those of you, whatever it is. We know that you are one of the greatest loan originators there is. Certainly when it comes to these niches, where do all these people using you come from?
Typically they come from either other loan officers. They're going to come from that class. They're going to do from campaigns driven by my website, videos, and then either YouTube redirects, YouTube ads, Google AdWords. I don't really do any Facebook. It's really expensive. And the type of traffic I'm looking for is more of a YouTuber. And that's actually not that expensive, especially depending on which kind of ads you use. So that's kind of my main traffic. The other mainstay that you kind of helped me with, you had Robbie on to talk last year at your Just the Tips. And we've gotten deep into this book. And I can honestly tell you, just talking about it has gotten some more venues, doing lunch and learns and bringing those into brokers. I'm a press the flesh kind of guy when it comes down to it. That's kind of my old side of being a loan officer. So I can't get that out of me no matter how tech savvy we become. So it's just following up with your database, people that have been in your class, making sure they don't forget you. You got anybody else in the office that needs the information. Some of the, you talked about where your content lives, and some of it doesn't live online, and that's intentional. So I can find out when people use it. You're using StreamYard, I think. I use Vidyard to find out when somebody's opened the video and to make sure they're actually getting it. And that's usually customer base or realtor base when they call to ask about it. So I know they're getting the education. If they can't come out to a 3-hour CE, I've got a compressed class I can give them on the video. But I want to make sure that they've actually read it and back up with them with a Salesforce-driven campaign that we do in our CRM.
That's fantastic. Let's back up a little bit, because I do think that our audience and myself as well would be curious about social media ad spend. I am going to have to agree with you that I think Facebook is a difficult venue for that. It is expensive. It's difficult to target. There were a couple of big issues Facebook has had in recent years that made them, well, the big one in my mind is that they became very paranoid about fair housing and fair lending laws. So it does make it very, very difficult to really target audiences when your content is real estate or mortgages. But you are telling this audience and me that you're having some great success with YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So some of the keywords I use are pretty nichey. You can be a generalist in mortgage, but if you're going after a niche, if you start looking for like DSCR loans, there's only a few people out there with video, and very few people with good video, and very few people with a whole library of content, not just like maybe 1 or 2 ad spend. So if you can have people they like to binge watch on Netflix is the best way I can say it. And when somebody wants to go find a certain product, like about condos or whatever, they're going to not just want to watch one. I mean, case in point, we're supposed to be going to Chairman's in March, and I don't know anything about Maui, Hawaii. So literally, I sat there yesterday. I must have saw at least an hour and a half videos on consumer reviews and realtors that are out talking about Maui and all the great things to do in Maui. So many realtors are on there. It almost gets you, interested in looking at real estate, though I had no
right.
intent of doing that while I'm there. And I would have to say, just doing that, I understand how important video is. I'm looking to double down on it this year because of that fact.
Brilliant. Double down. All right, let's talk about going forward. What other things are you going to bring into the loop in 22 that you haven't experimented with or implemented in the past?
So the big thing is the book, and if you know me, I can't even text. So,
so writing a book is a very big deal. Yes,
that's a very big deal
Love
for
it.
me. And I've thought about it for a year and a half. And then you had a world-class realtor at your event. Not to give away names, but he was very impressive with the scale of his business and what he's done. And he shared with us that he had some learning challenges, and I just have squirrel syndrome, so I can't focus, and I don't have what they call the diction or the grammar. So he mentioned that you could hire a ghostwriter. I never even knew that was possible. So I had almost a year's worth of data that I'd gone back and tried to put together an outline for my own book, and I downloaded SPS 90 Day Way and a couple other books because I'm an Audible kind of guy, and you just don't have to do it by yourself, and you don't have to be a great writer to write a good book. So you can find people out there that'll help you put together your book in a very concise fashion. It'll be entertaining, and it has good content. It's well written. So you can write the book through a good author.
Yep, and that definitely. I don't know exactly where my writing bug came from. Both of my parents had done a lot of writing in their backgrounds. My mother's actually a published novelist and has done some ghostwriting for other novelists. I think the biggest piece of the puzzle for me, and again, my AD squirrel probably rivals yours. I think a lot of us in sales and loan origination and real estate have that problem. The time blocking was the biggest piece of it for me. If I actually blocked off the time to write, now my book's going to be different than yours. One, I wrote it. It wasn't ghostwritten. It's a toilet book. It's not written in a traditional fashion by any means. So it probably made it easier for me to time block it out. Write 5 pages today. Write 10 pages today. I think I was writing 5 and editing 10. When I was done, I switched my time block from writing 5 to editing 10 before it went to an editor. And then eventually to publication. What are we looking at for a time frame? When are we going to be able to read this book, John?
So it's going to drop in May, right? And so that's going to be available on Amazon 2 days free. You'll be able to stream it, and then as far as time frame on getting hard paperbacks. Supply chain, we'll see.
We're talking about this May, like in 90 days, roughly 120 days.
Brother, I went after this hard.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
We're talking about these conversations you had, and we know it was Rob that you were talking about, but we're talking about these conversations from our event in September.
The end of September.
Right. 3 months.
September 26th.
3 months ago.
It was.
Yeah.
It hasn't even been 90 days. Yeah. Good on you, man. Wow. Yeah. You really took some initiative there. This is some bull by the horns shit for sure.
So, not to brag or tout, but I have a 3-page business plan. Number 1 on it was the book. So I started working on that, I think early October. But I have a lot of content already available, and I can definitely hook you up with some really great people that have helped me out. To get somebody to help you they use Monday and the whole way. Monday is like almost like Slack. It's a program. They're going to keep you accountable if you pay them. It's almost like coaching for a book. So you're gonna write. They're going to remind you. You got to do it still, but it's been a process. But I just get up an hour early every morning, and that's my focus every morning.
That's awesome.
Okay, so this is really funny and full circle kind of shit, but it's coming up on 3 years now. It will be next month that I released Just the Tips. I'm sure Jen has a copy of it somewhere. There it is. Look at her bookmarking things and all kinds of good stuff.
Right.
I think it's
And
right there. It's right.
is it back there on the shelf? Okay.
I see it.
So
I see it.
There.
I am sitting in the airport to go from Austin, Texas to Denver, Colorado after a conference. And we used the conference as a soft book launch party. And at the time, I didn't know it was you, but 3 years, I didn't know you anywhere near as well as I do now. And I spied some asshole across the airport reading my book. I'm like,
This asshole.
that's the one. I'm like, holy cow. You know you've arrived when you see some stranger in an airport reading your book. And of course, you are strange, but we weren't strangers. I just couldn't see as far as it was. But yeah, it was really, really cool, eye-opening stuff. So you and I are going to have to stage that with me reading your book in an airport somewhere.
Right.
Somebody taking a telephoto picture of it so that you can say, now I've arrived. Here's some other asshole reading my book in the airport. Actually, I think the best part of that was that on my way to Austin for that conference, I wandered into the tattered cover in Denver International Airport, threw a copy of my book up on the shelf, and took a picture of it.
That's
Someday.
awesome.
Someday.
I have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, it got a little tense as I was walking out of the bookstore with a book I didn't pay for.
Oh, yeah, right.
I was like, sir. And I was like, oh, no, I'm just messing with your bookshelves. You guys don't even carry this. I swear I brought it in with me. But yeah, very entertaining stuff. So we should look forward to that. Do we have a title?
So it's flexible still, as my author says, but it's supposed to be House Hacking Confessions of a Renovation Loan Officer.
Ah, very cool.
It's not just about my story. There's a little bit of that peppered in so you can understand where it comes from the heart. But a lot of it's just about most of my successful clients, just showing how the average layperson can go out and really make it in real estate. So the best way to capture wealth, and if there's one thing I hope I get out of this book, and I really don't care if it makes $1. Matter of fact, every dollar that's made by this book is being donated to Canines for Warriors. So I don't plan to make any money off of it. And that's the whole idea. I see so many people online and my feed is totally crammed with a bunch of knuckleheads that want to tell you can make it rich in real estate. And I'm the first one to tell you it's hard. It's hard, and you really need to do some things on guided principles. There's no short way to success. And I'd like for people to know those risks and kind of proceed with caution. But I think we found a better way for people to do that and call things home, make wealth and equity. I've lost it all. I've gained it all. I've paid all the tuition to the School of Hard Knocks. So if you want to know how the hard way to do it, I can tell you that. And you don't have to live through that. So it's going to be a very low cost book. Hopefully it's a success, but it's just my passion to get the story out that you don't have to be a brainiac. You don't have to be a millionaire to make $1 million in real estate. You don't have to be a genius. I'm living proof.
I love this. So you are, and we tout ourselves this way as well, a Scared Straight program.
Yeah.
I've already made all these mistakes, so you don't have to. That's solid.
Yeah,
really
I'm not Grant Cardone. I'm not going to pull up in my jet and my Rolls Royce.
Never.
I can't do that because all my money's in real estate.
Even still, yeah. Even if I had the money, I'm not spending it on a jet. Yeah, the logic there escapes me.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Well, John, if somebody had an inquiry about your book or wanted to know more about this or needed a renovation loan, how would they find you?
You can find me at John Adams Teams. John Adams Team on johnadamsteam.com online, or you can shoot me an email, johnadamsteam@gmail.com.
What's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is John David Adams Jr. Hold on, I should know this by heart.
Wow, yes, you should. But it sounds like there's a lot
John
of good
Adams
content
Team.
there.
It's John Adams Team as
John
well.
Adams Team on YouTube. All right.
Good God.
Now he won't forget, ladies and gentlemen. Very cool. Jen, what am I missing? You know John well too. You've spent quite a bit of time with this guy.
I mean, I have wheels
surprised
turning.
it's not a restraining order. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, we
John,
won't go
if you
there.
want that
We
to happen,
won't go
quit
there.
bringing your wife to these events. We like her. We want to
She's
keep you out of
wonderful.
jail.
Sorry, I was playing with the cool new commenting feature through StreamYard. So,
Ah.
no, but John, I definitely want to get a little testimonial from you about Mile High resulting in you writing a book for sure.
Absolutely.
Ghostwriting or not, you are putting together a book, and I think that's so friggin' cool. So congratulations on that. Yeah, I mean, it's great to see you, and I'm looking forward to Mile High this year and Social Media Day, and I'm just, my mind is blown that you will have written a complete book in less than a year from the time of Mile High. Yeah, I think that's amazing.
It's pretty impressive, no doubt about it. Yeah. When I started doing the math in my head, it took me a minute to remember which mastermind event we were talking about. And then, that was 3 months ago, and you're going to do this in 3 more months' time.
Yep.
We're duly impressed, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I do recommend you read, if you have an opportunity, if you have a passion for reading a book. There's a book called SPS 90 Day Way on Audible. Dude's super young, just had a 20-step life hack for success for entrepreneurs. And he wrote that pamphlet, turned it into a book, and has written super many books on how to write a book in 90 days. So it's called the SPS, Self-Publishing School, 90 Day Way. Really good Audible book. Grab it. I think it's like $9. It's great.
Yeah, probably worth every penny. And we have a ton of people in our circle and a ton of people in our audience that would love to write a book.
Absolutely.
And boy, would love to have that content out in the time frame that you will. It's
just
impressive.
Do it. Just commit and just do it.
Take imperfect action, but get to it. Wow. Well, we have certainly credited an awful lot of people in the show today. So thank you, Rob. There was a nice little plug there for Chad Prio. Thank you, Chad. Take imperfect action. As always, one of the greatest lessons any of us has ever learned. But yeah. All right, Jen, why don't you take us home? I think we're probably overtime, if not
of course.
Time. Okay.
Of course. All right, guys. If you want to find out anything about us, text tips to 63566. That's scrolling on the bottom of the screen for those that are watching the video. We are starting to plan Mile High Mastermind and Social Media Day for 2022, which is crazy. I put out a speaker call, but I'll put it out here too. If you or anyone you think would be a great speaker for us, please send them my way. As Rob would say, who do you know that I need to know? So who do you know that's a great speaker that I need to know? Because we'd love to talk to them about being a speaker at Mile High Mastermind, which is September 16th and 17th, 2022, or Social Media Day, which is officially June 30th, 2022. So yeah, text tips to 63566 to get information on those events. Our recent videos, a free hour of coaching with Adam and myself, a copy of Adam's book that we've talked about quite a bit today, which is awesome. And literally probably anything you could possibly want or not want to know about us, you can find at That Tuck's Good.
Very cool stuff. Well, John, thank you. I know it's not easy to carve out this kind of time.
Oh, no, it was fun. I
Monday
appreciate
morning.
you having me on. I'm a huge fan.
Oh. You are full of it, and thank you.
Number one fan.
Oh, my God. Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller. Got it.
Oh, boy. On that note.
All right. On that note, join us next week for another episode. Are we having a show next week, Jen?
Yes. Special guest Paul Wozniak next week.
Paul Wozniak. All right. Well, Paul's a repeat guest, if memory serves. Well, cool. So we will be back most weeks. We do about 40, 45 episodes a year at 10:30 in the morning Mountain Time live. You can obviously catch us in syndication. The podcast is on Apple and Spotify.
Yes,
and that is it. So you guys have a great week. Thanks again, John. And we will see you all next time.